so many of us are working with our spiritual practices and spiritual tools and working with magic, ritual, intention setting, etc., for geopolitical, environmental, or social issues, larger global concerns. And if you are doing this, I have one important piece of advice as someone who has been practicing magic for over 30 years. I actually wrote a book about it called Modern Day Magic. Pick it up wherever you get good books. And I am also an elected member of our city council. So I've worked with some of these tools on my own, and I know they work. I will also say that anytime we're working with geopolitical or social or environmental matters, we have to be doing boots on the ground campaigning, advertising, fundraising, volunteerism. We have to be following up our intentions and our magic and our spiritual practices with the very, in astrology, we say the sixth house stuff, the routine. It's like chop wood, carry water. So that's important. We can't just wave a magic wand and think that everything is going to magically shift. We have to do both. And so there's a balancing act we do. And often the activities of our campaigns, of our volunteerism, those are rituals as well. Now, these are techniques, these are tools for anyone, regardless of your political affiliation, regardless of the outcomes you want. These work. I've tested them, I've tried them, and this was a game changer for me. So Dion Fortune, and I'm laughing because I had to record this like 3 times because I accidentally said Dionne Warwick the first time and then I laughed the second time. So I just had to share that with you all. Okay, so Dion Fortune says that magic is the art of changing consciousness at will. And this is important. This is how she defines it. And this is how others have defined it throughout the years too. Aleister Crowley had a version of that definition. Starhawk does. And the word consciousness is the word to latch onto when we are thinking about this particular magic lesson. So when we are working with collective consciousness, it's different than when we're working with our own individual consciousness. We can change our own individual consciousness through a lot of different practices, through therapy, hypnosis, just like walking through your day and having a symbolic awakening through an encounter with a bird. There are so many different ways that our own consciousness shifts and we open up space in our hearts and in our energy fields for light to come through. So when we're working with magic for ourselves, yes, sometimes we're dealing with consciousness that is unknown to us. Sometimes it's karmic. Sometimes there are other people's consciousness involved, especially if we're talking about love and relationships or intentions that relate to having a baby or things like that. But when we're talking about more of a collective or global consciousness, then we actually have to work in a slightly different way. So what I like to do when I'm holding any kind of intention for global things, we don't personally, our egos think that they know what is going to work best, what is going to be the best outcome for others. And those outcomes are related to our own beliefs, our own morality, our upbringing, the way that we perceive the world, even our astrology. So any intention we offer on a collective level is going to be limited by our own perspectives. So it's important that we focus on consciousness and focus on looking at the consciousness of what we want to create instead of the exact outcomes. So try this with me. Close your eyes and take a deep cleansing breath and feel the soles of your feet planted down like there are roots coming out of the soles of your feet and going down into that fiery core of the earth. And maybe you even feel that energy source that keeps our atmosphere in place. That fiery core is what protects the planet. It's what creates our magnetic sphere. And so connect to that, connect to the earth, ground your energy. There you go. You got it. Okay. Now, with your awareness up in your third eye chakra, which is right here between the eyebrows and just a little bit above that third eye chakra, put a smile on your face, because it's always better to manifest with smiles and do magical practices with smiles. Put a smile on your face. And now envision and feel the way you want the world to be. And maybe you can't see an exact vision. Maybe a vision comes to you and it's like trees lining your street and people shaking hands. Just allow that vision to percolate in your mind, in your mind's eye. Allow the feeling to rise. Some of you are not as visual. So allow the feeling state to bring you into that state of consciousness that you believe the world is capable of, that you believe that we can move toward. And feel it all. Feel it with your whole heart. Sometimes when I do this exercise, a vision will come to me and I'll see like people, like right now when I'm doing this exercise, there's a vision of my community, my local community. And people all pitching in and helping with, there's a really cool community garden project that's building, and so I'm seeing like people working together, and any vision that we have in this magical space is a vision that has symbolic resonance. So it doesn't have to be, two presidents of warring countries coming together and shaking hands, although that might be what your vision is. It could just be people living in harmony, people living in peace. And hold that feeling state as long as you can, and let it build up, and notice when any little like resistance comes up, like, oh, this will never happen, or oh, but this is silly, what am I doing? Any little piece of resistance that comes up, just blow it away, exhale it away, and continue to hold that feeling state and that vision, that experience of the consciousness that you want to live in this world. Great. Now, from that elevated state of consciousness, this is where we create. We don't create right down here where it's like there are so many problems and I wish climate change wasn't happening and I wish corporations were, being taxed. No, we don't create from that place. We create from this place of being above the destructive aspects of our culture and the things that we want to change. And we create from the place of vision, from the place of experiencing the new paradigm that we most desire to see reflected in our life experience. And so from that position, then you kind of send out little signals. And I always just sort of imagine that there are radio frequencies that are hanging out, and that there is that they are sending out signals to other people who are in that same space that we're in. And these might be, you might not never ever see who these people are, but these are people who are on your wavelength, and this is the wavelength that we're moving into. So just imagine and start to feel your feelers calling out to anybody else who's in a like frequency and saying, hey, I'm here too. Hey, I'm here. Let's hold this together. And what's great about magic is that intention is like 90% of the process, and letting go is the other 10%. And there are some activities that we do along with intentions, like these visualizations that we're talking about, or like tinctures and things like that. But really, you're looking at intention, attention, and letting that intention spiral forth and go out to where it most needs to go, into that invisible network of all the others who are co-creating this experience. So send out your signals. Call all the voters who align on the same wavelength and say, it's time to wake up. Come on, let's go, let's go. Call the leaders who are your representatives, even the ones who you ideologically disagree with. Call them and say, hey, come on, it's time to wake up. We've got a new vision to go into. There's so much that we can do in the etheric, in the spiritual realm. You know the power of prayer. It is extremely potent. And so we want to do it the right way so that we're not constantly putting out fires. Unfortunately, for some of us, that's quite literally, so that we're not constantly addressing the problems, but we're holding the vibration and holding the vision for where we're moving as the solution. That's where the creative power is. So we always work with consciousness first. Then the outcomes usually align with whatever shift in consciousness happens as a result of the magic that we're doing. So have the intention in the back of your mind. I want this political candidate. I want this. I want the solutions to our, plastics in the ocean. I want, whatever it is, an end to space debris. That's one of my intentions. So hold those outcomes that you have in the back of your mind, hold tight to them, and let them be sort of like satellites to the main intention, which is changing the consciousness. So changing the consciousness is the goal, is the intention, and changing a consciousness toward whatever consciousness would most align to your outcomes. But the outcomes are almost like byproducts and not the ends themselves. I know many of you who work with magic are thinking this is like, what am I talking about? You have to be specific about intentions. You have to be really clear with your intentions. Feelings are more powerful than words when it comes with to intentions. And if we hold the feeling state for where we want consciousness to be, then that's actually more powerful creation. One thing I've done a lot of election magic in my life. A lot. I've done a lot of political magic. I've worked in groups. I've done it alone. And one thing I find to be extremely effective is doing this process, is working in the ether. So working with consciousness. If you are the kind of person who likes to use words and you love the process of writing poetic intentions for your rituals, your intention might be something like, hang on one second, let me feel it. May those who have the most power to change the course of our culture through a shift in consciousness rise up to be seen and heard. May they use the power of their words, their voices, their actions, and their votes to direct the course of humanity toward peace, justice, and the betterment of the world for this generation and all that come after. And may the leaders who most align with that awakened consciousness that we are evolving toward step up and take their positions in elected office. And so it is, so mote it be. That's pretty good. I like that. Okay. So try that. Now, as for what day of the week do you do this, and what lunar phase. These are powerful full moon intentions. These are powerful new moon intentions. I would say that work with those lunation points in the lunation cycle. I would also say that anything that a ritual on a Sunday, which is the sun's day, which represents authority and leadership and power and success, that would be a good day to do it. I also like Thursdays for any kind of ritual activities that involve leadership or that involve justice or things of that nature. Thursday is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter likes to bless the dream, the what's possible. Venus, for if you're doing any kind of ritual practice that relates to harmony, balance, peace, justice. And Mercury, anything that revolves around communication. If you are doing a letter writing campaign or sending emails to your representatives, Mercury's day, Wednesday, is the day to do it. And the moon day relates to the moon, Monday, relates to the people. It relates to women, to children. So if you're doing any kind of rituals that relate to women's health, maternal health, reproductive access, reproductive freedom, those would be good for Mondays. Tuesdays are good for anything related to competitions and winning, ending war. I know there might be some, astrologers who question that because Tuesday is Mars Day, and it's like, well, why would you set intentions for an end to war on Mars's day? But Mars was a protector. He was an advocate. And so that can be anything related to Mars can be good for Mars Day. Saturday is Saturn's Day. And that can be good for, like, if you are offering intentions or a spiritual practice related to someone getting justice for the bad things that they've done. Saturday is your day. Saturday is Saturn's Day. It's good for like clearing, ending, like death and dying. I mean, we're not going to do death rituals, but there are some ethics around that. But Saturday is good for just desserts, so to speak. So, to summarize, this magic lesson was all about linking to consciousness, aligning your body, mind, spirit to the consciousness that most matches the outcome you desire for a specific political, social, or environmental or communal intention. Honestly, we can work with, this is how I work in other areas of my life, more personal intentions as well. But when we're working with collective intentions, there's a lot more that we can't see, that we can't know. And so that is why we work with consciousness first. We set intentions related to consciousness. And from that place of the consciousness that we want to create and we want to be in our planet, from that position, we can connect energetically with all of the other people and groups who are also working on this consciousness too. There's one more thing I'll add here, and that is that we are much more powerful when we are gathered together with others. The energy of our magic isn't just multiplied by the number of people that we're performing magic with or working in a spiritual practice with or praying with. The energy isn't just multiplied, it's multiplied exponentially. So two people coming together in meditation or in prayer or in ritual, two people coming together isn't just 1 times 1. It is 2 to the second power. So gather in groups. We need to start creating little mini groups of people working in consciousness raising all throughout the country. I've had this vision for a while, and I think that that's really what is going to be effective as we move further into Pluto's time in Aquarius. It's going to be more and more about the local community. And so if you've got a group of friends and you all feel the same thing about the way that you want the election to go, get together with them, hold a retreat, hold a nightly prayer meeting or a meditation group or something like that, and do this exercise. So I will be teaching a workshop at the Omega Institute in September, Modern Day Magic, Own Your Power and Shape Your Life. And we're going to be talking about these kinds of magical practices. So if you want to deep dive into your own magic lessons, that is the place to do it. So sign up. I'll put a link down below, and I'll be back with more magic lessons.